I'm going to share my screen with you.
Yep.
Okay. So this is the thread on Google Group. And so I tried to, well, let me step back a bit and show you what I'm trying to do.
Yep.
And I'll explain this using the Cascade user interface, and then of course we can figure out what that means in terms of web services. So actually, so I got this project to change the content types of all the pages within this folder.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a perfect opportunity to put into practice the scripts that you demonstrated during the asset tree hangout back in a long time ago. So so actually I pulled it up. So this is how I do it.
Yeah, go to the list.
So go to the, here we go. Got a lot of playlists.
Yeah,
so I go to the playlist, and it's the asset tree traversal hangout. But what I do is I open it in incognito mode. Oh, I thought that was you talking. Sorry.
No, I wasn't.
It starts playing automatically. The reason I open it in incognito mode is because I'm logged in. When I click on the index, the time index, it does this weird thing where it edits. It goes into edit mode. But that's probably just for me.
Okay.
So so fast forward. So anyway, here's where you kind of started doing a live demonstration of how to use the asset tree traversal to traverse a folder. So with that as a background, I'm going to share my text editor now. So I started to write some scripts by hand to basically change the content type of all the pages. So let me pull that up. So it's basically a bulk change tool.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Okay.
So this is the folder.
Yeah.
Well, that we want to traverse.
Yeah.
This is the new content type that we want to assign the pages to. Here, I go ahead and get the new content type, get the object. Here I'm getting the folder. Yeah. And here I'm traversing it. And I'm only targeting page assets. And I wrote a function called change content type.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I get the page object from the child object. And so then I do some reporting. Yeah, just showing the path, the page, the content type. But here's where I change the content type, and I use the globals array to get the variable outside the function. And then I do edit. And what's happening is, well, let me run it.
Okay. Yep. Now, before you do that, have you tried running? Well, first, I assume you have already like run the program, like getting a report of pages with phantom nodes inside, right?
Yes.
Now, have you tried running this program, this specific program, on a single page with phantom nodes?
Not on a single page, no.
Well, remember when you do like tree traversal, I always recommend doing it with one single asset first. Otherwise, it means that you don't even know like which asset you are dealing with. That causes a problem, and because you are like making bulk edit, it may like make a lot of like, well, it will have a lot of side effects. Let me put it this way. So I would rather like do it against one single asset and make sure your program works as intended without any side effects that you don't want before you do the traversal. Otherwise, I mean, it can be dangerous.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So yeah, well, we can actually do that right now. So
yep.
I guess it's time for me to do some live coding demonstration.
Why not? Yeah.
So let me comment this out.
Yeah, comment it out.
Oops. I'll comment all this out. Comment this table out.
Okay.
Because we're just doing one page. And
you must find a page with phantom nodes first.
oh, okay. So let me share.
Yeah. Don't edit the page manually, because if you do that, the phantom node or nodes will be removed. Well, type A, not type B.
Right. Okay, so you have a handy little script that does that.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So you have a whole bunch of programs that you can run.
So this folder right here is from your repository. It's my copy.
Right.
So you have a recipes folder, phantom nodes folder.
Okay.
And, so report phantom nodes.
Someday you have to share with everybody how you did that.
Yeah, I know, definitely. So before I do that, let me just double check. Well, you know what? I think I just ran it, so I'm gonna just run it. So, oh well, oops, I think I picked the wrong one. It's report phantom nodes type A. Okay, so it returns an empty array, which means there are no phantom nodes in that folder, in any of the pages.
Right.
And so that means that we should be able to run it. But I like your idea of just doing one page first.
Yeah. Now, would you please run the first program you ran a moment ago again? I want to like see you might be able to like find the page with that problem, the phantom value problem.
Oh, the one. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Share my screen.
We can use that page as a test.
So fix phantom node.
Yeah.
Here we go. Boom.
Can you find the ID of the page?
I don't see any IDs, to be honest. So it is a phantom node error.
That's a phantom value error.
Oh.
Okay, let's see. That's the problem. As I like, well, that's the problem I talked about. Because if you traverse an entire folder, you just don't know like which asset causes the problem. But if you run it against a single item, then you know, okay, at least you know where to look. Right now, I have no idea like what causes this.
Well, I think I know which page is the problem.
Oh, okay. If you know.
Yeah. And I can show you in the interface.
Yep. Look at that page.
So I think it was this one, because this was the next page on the list to be to change the content type.
Yeah. Would you please edit the page?
Sure.
Now, which field has the yes value?
Oh, okay.
The footer include, yeah.
I think it's this one. Let me look at the error again.
You're supposed to have a yes value, but do you have a yes value?
I don't think so.
Exactly. That's a phantom value.
So
you change your data definition, but somehow the cascade still remembers, okay, the old value, yes.
So this is a type A phantom.
This is a phantom value problem. It's neither a type A nor a type B. That's the third type.
Okay, can you explain what that is?
Okay. Phantom nodes are basically created by a discrepancy between the definition and the real container. Okay, so let's say if you define something in the definition that is missing from the container, that's type B. But if you don't have a definition, but somehow you have something in the container, that's type A.
Right.
Okay, so I'm talking about the discrepancy between the definition and the container. That's phantom nodes.
Now let me stop you for a second.
Okay.
My frame of reference is the Cascade web interface. Mm-hmm. So I know okay, so let me share.
Yep.
Share again. So if we look at the Cascade interface, get out of here, and we go to properties, we go to content type, we go to data definition.
Yeah.
This is what I understand as the data definition.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you say like the node container or the structured data, what is that in the interface?
Well, that should be like viewed from a page.
Okay. So
when you edit the page.
So it's this set of...
These are structured data nodes.
Gotcha.
Okay, these are containers. That's what I meant.
Okay, I see.
Okay. So if you define something in the data definition, but missing from the container or containers, well, missing from the container meaning the top level container. Okay, somehow something is missing inside. Then this is type B.
Right.
You define it, but it's missing from the container. That's type B.
Right. So the way that manifests itself is you add a field to a data definition.
Precisely.
But you haven't gone back to the pages and
exactly
hit submit.
So you have some new field, but without the corresponding nodes.
Okay.
That's type B. The other way around is, you delete something from your data definition, but the data still survives. That's type A.
Right.
Okay. Now, that's the discrepancies between the definition and the container.
Okay.
Now, the third type, phantom value. This is not about the definition, well, related to the definition, but it's not the discrepancy between the definition and the container, but rather the discrepancy between what's defined in the definition and what is contained in a container.
Right. Okay.
So in your definition, you say, okay, the default value is like yes, let's say uppercase Y.
Right.
But actually, it's a result of a change from lowercase to uppercase. So meaning you started with lowercase first.
Right.
Later on, you change it to uppercase.
Right.
But in the container, they still contain the lowercase y.
Okay.
Because of the change. So there's a
okay.
discrepancy between what is defined and what is contained.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep, that's phantom value.
So it's more similar to type B in that it's a result of a change to the data definition.
I don't know which type it corresponds. It's a third type. So
Right.
It's a third one because I mean we don't mean something missing, but something not defined. It's closer to type A because it's not defined.
Yeah, but it's the result of changing.
I know.
The data
so it's
definition.
in between. So it's hard to say it's like type A or type B. It's different. It's the third one.
Maybe it's like a lowercase type A, you know.
So you can use a web service program to actually detect, well, again, use a tree traversal to report phantom values if you want to. Meaning you can look at, well, either all the fields or a specific field, look at the data definition and like find the default value, compare that with the actual value stored in that field. If they are different, then you have a phantom value.
Okay, gotcha.
And this one cannot be fixed easily manually. Okay, you have to like select a value in that field to erase the old value. So back to the page you have.
Yeah.
To get rid of that yes, you have to check something, either general or whatever available in that list. Yeah, you have to go there.
So wait, which does it say which field it is?
Okay, go back to the page.
Okay.
Yep, and then go to like a footer. Yep, and then you have to manually select something. Yes, anything.
Okay.
And then submit.
Are we sure it's that field?
I think so. That's footer includes, right?
Yes.
Now run the program again. Well, you never know. Okay, you fix one page, it might be another page now. I mean, it really depends.
Yeah, I'm not sure it was that field, but I can't tell.
Exactly. That's why you want to run it against one single page so that you know what causes a problem. Right now, it's hard to tell.
Right. It might be. Oh, okay. I see what you mean. So you're saying it might not even be this page that's the problem?
It could be among these. I don't know. Yeah, it could be among these.
Let's see. But it might not be. It might not be this problem. Might not be this page.
So it's easier to hunt down a problem by focusing on a single page, so that you don't know. Okay, right now we don't know which page, what field.
Right, right. So if we go to your library, do you have a script that can be tweaked to
As a tree traversal, the third one. And try, I don't remember which one. Page in all size. Okay, go back up. Go back to recipes. And then go to site conversion. And then try one of these. Scroll down. I want to see an array. Yeah. So you can have something like this. So you can actually call the function directly, line 61. So you can call child, create a child, okay, and then plug that child into the function directly.
Oh, okay. So I can use this.
So you don't need to traverse.
Okay. So I can use this and then copy.
Yep, and then call the function directly. Well, of course, it must be your function.
Right, I have to copy this one also, right?
Yeah. Well, you already have your function. Well, you decide what to do. I don't know.
Um, so
Yeah, I would rather start with your program. Just
yeah.
add a few lines so that you can like call the function directly from here.
So this is the code, right?
Yeah, you need to plug in the page ID.
Right.
Well, you have to start with a page that has problem, or at least you assume that has problems.
Right. So yeah, let's verify if this is the page or not. So I just you might not have seen it, but I just grabbed the page ID from Cascade.
Okay. Now change the function name to your function. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then you might need, remove those. If you don't need a parameter array, then you might want to remove it. Yeah, just plug a null
in. Okay.
Try it.
Try and run this. See what happens.
Yep. You're running it against one page only. Yes.
For some reason, you have to share. You have to share. I have to switch between sharing my text editor and my web browser. Okay. So now, you know what? I'm going to leave that open. I'm just going to open a new tab. Run that program. Okay.
Edit asset. Let's see. Delete instant pass to merge. What? I haven't seen this error before.
Yeah. So this is a new error.
Okay. Fail to edit the asset. Deleted instance pass to merge. What?
Well, so let's take a step back for a second. I want to show you another script.
Before you do that, can you show me the page with the ID you just plugged in?
Same page.
Which page? Oh, the same page. And we edited this page a moment ago.
Yes.
Can you just read this page without doing anything? I want to like step back and see what is going on.
Oh, okay, sure. 1 second. Let me just share my entire screen. Oh, okay, that's okay. Did that take away the infinite loop?
Say it again.
Do you still see an infinite loop?
A moment ago, yes. Now, not now.
Now you see my screen. Okay. So, oops. So you want me to just read the page?
Just read the page. Well, that's the basic. So if you can read it, then we can like try to edit it and see what happens.
Okay. So you mean do something like
get asset and then
use page instead of folder.
Yeah.
And
then the ID.
Here's the ID. I still have that. And do nothing else, right?
Just dump it.
I'll dump it. Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, what was your inspiration for this library? Like the way you structured the classes and
it's a long story. Well, after this, okay. Well, after this exercise, this specific exercise, let's try it first.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
You can read it. Now try to edit it. Just like, for example, like change set text, whatever. just well, you can just call edit. You don't even need to do anything.
Sure,
Instead of dump, just edit, yeah, and remove the true, yeah.
Okay. All right.
So you can't even edit it.
That's
What
interesting.
is wrong?
But here I can.
Well, submit. Okay, now run the program again. Send me this whole message. I don't know what is wrong, but there's something really unexpected.
Sure.
Wow, this is interesting. This is getting interesting.
Okay. So I'm gonna just add it to our thread.
Yeah, paste it there, yeah, and then I'll try to hunt down the problem. But
Sure.
I've never seen this before.
Sure. You know what? Let me just double check. So yeah, I'm using. So this is a good story. So I basically I've been testing your your example repository scripts, but I got lazy. So rather than change the require to include to my include, I added to my includes folder. I added a path and copied my authentication script, and I just renamed it as your name.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to make sure, it's calling the right server. So that's
right.
That's the same one, yeah. So okay, so yeah, we can table that for now.
But this is interesting. You can edit it like from the back end, but not using web services. There's something really interesting here.
Yeah. So here's one more. I wanted to step back and just run one more script for you. So this is this is a script that just simply goes through that folder.
Yeah.
And displays the path of the page,
right,
and the content type. So as you can see, I've gone through the first 4 pages.
Yeah. So you're stuck with the 5th, right?
Yeah, so that's the page.
Okay.
So let's try something. Let's. What if we unindex it? Will it still?
I don't think there's anything to do with these 2 settings. I don't think so.
No, I mean, will it skip it? So if I do that, and I
well, this has nothing to do with indexing. I don't think so.
Oh, that's interesting. So web services still shows.
Sure.
Okay.
It can do like things to any pages, indexable or not. It doesn't care.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah. Well, here's let's try something else. The next page on this list is this one. I'd like to try and see if we get the same error. Hold on. So I'm going to paste in a different page ID and see if we get the same error. No. Yeah. So there's so I guess it is that page.
Right. But I really don't know what's happening to that page.
Okay.
Well, we can try to figure out. Okay. Okay. 2 things. First, I shouldn't ask this question, but I will ask anyway. Is your Cascade instance like behind the firewall? I'm asking, can I access it?
No, it is behind a firewall.
Okay, then there's no way for me like to dig into your instance.
Right.
Well, you never know, because I mean the other day, Laurie from she used to work in Syracuse University. Now she's in Carnegie Mellon or Malone or whatever in Pittsburgh.
Sure.
A few 2 weeks ago, she came to Syracuse, and then she like came to my office, and like so that we went through some like web service scripts and so on and so forth. The Cascade instance, well, the sandbox, okay, is like open to the outside world. So I could actually write scripts right here, to talk to that instance and like try to figure out what is going on.
Okay.
If your Cascade instance is not open, then there's nothing I can do. I mean, I cannot. I don't have VPN. I don't have anything to go inside.
Right.
But let's focus on that page, okay? Well, at least I want you to focus on that page and try to figure out what is going on.
Sure.
Don't delete that page. Try to like keep a copy of it. Let's like get to the bottom of the problem, because there's something I haven't seen before. I really want to know what is going on.
Well, I can try one more thing. I could try and run the same script against the production version of that page. You know what I mean?
I can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Not yet.
Okay. So I go back and I put that page ID back, right?
Mm-hmm.
But my one thought was I have another version of that page, and it might be worth checking.
Sure.
If we get the same error in a different instance.
Ah, yeah, good idea. Is it the same? Oh, you changed the ID, right?
Yeah, I put the old ID. Yep.
Okay.
Well, actually, that's a good point. Let me run this again and make sure we get the error again. Okay, so here's the error.
But actually, this is something I didn't expect, because when I like read the message from the group discussion, I noticed there's something about Java Hibernate.
Really?
And this, I'm not sure, but this is. We could be dealing with something like a phantom page. I know. Because in Cascade, all kinds of phantom objects can be floating around.
Interesting.
Okay, go back to the back end of Cascade. Find that page. I want to make sure one thing is okay. So this is the page we are looking at.
Yes.
And this is.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, it's this page here. Okay.
This is the page. So it shows up in the asset tree.
Here, yeah.
9B3D. Okay, go back to the script. I want to make sure the ID is the one I'm looking at. 9B3D. Yeah, it is. I don't know. Because this occasionally you might run into like phantom pages. In that you can see a page, but that page doesn't show up in the asset tree. I don't know whether you have seen something like that before.
No. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes.
It is a phantom page. Meaning.
I think we have.
But this one is not, because you can see it in the asset tree. But somehow, when you try to edit it using web services, you can read it, but you cannot edit it. I really don't know. I can't answer the question. What's wrong?
So I have
Just,
a question for
yep,
you though.
yep.
I'm curious why phantom nodes of type A cause a problem for the traverse function. And they don't seem to cause a problem if you are, let's say, traversing the relationships of a content type.
Well, let me step back and talk about, well, because in the last 2 days I've been talking to a guy in California about web services, and it made me rethink what I did in the library. I want to bring it up as a context, okay, before we come back to Phantom Nodes. 2 days ago, well, we might be meeting this guy today. I don't know if he joins the meeting at 1 o'clock. Then you be meeting him. Well, you may be late, but if you join, then you meet him. He sent me a message, okay, asking me, well, telling me that he changed. Well, he wrote the code a bit differently, so that he could speed up the execution a lot, tremendously. Okay, when he well, he was doing exactly the same thing, switching content types of pages. But if you remember, when you call set content type using my library, I will call edit, okay, internally. So every time when you deal with a page, I call edit, and then basically commit everything to the database. Every page. That's my library.
So wait, say that one more time. You call edit internally?
In set content type.
You mean in the method?
In the method, yes.
So then how come?
Okay, slow down.
Okay.
Hold on to your questions, okay?
Okay.
So remember, every time when you call edit, it would take about 2 to 3 seconds to commit the changes.
Okay.
Okay. Now, this Maurice, okay, his name is Maurice. He told me, actually, he sent me his program. He told me that instead of using my library at this point, he just wrote code to set the content type manually using STD classes and so on and so forth, going down into under the hood into the STD class objects, and then change that there without using my library.
Okay.
That's how he bypassed the edit call. So basically, he okay it, and then do it well, whatever you need to do, and at the end call edit manually in his code.
Okay.
So he could basically okay, switch the content type and do all the edit, well, do all the changes before edit is called.
Oh, okay.
This he used what I call low-level code, meaning bypassing my library, just go inside, look at the STD class object, and so on and so forth, do the manipulation, and call edit at the end.
Right.
So for me, I would call edit at least twice, but for him, only once.
Oh, okay. So I can see. Of course,
by doing this, okay, you will save a lot of execution time.
Right.
But the problem is this: he asked me, why didn't I build my library that way? Why I call edit inside set content type, for example? Actually, I call edit in several places. For example, if you set the metadata. No, set the metadata set. Sorry, set metadata set. Well, if you recall, right at the beginning, I explained. Okay, there are two types of set methods in my library. One, the first type, I don't call edit. Okay, so basically everything you change, okay, stays in memory. You have to call edit at the end to commit everything. This is precisely done, okay, to save time. So that you keep, okay, set this, set that, set that, set that. At the end, you call edit. Then you commit all the changes.
Right.
The other the set of set methods, whenever you call it, I will call edit right inside that method. Because you're not changing the data, you're changing the container. For example, if you change the content type, you are changing the container because you might change the data definition.
Hold on a second. if you change it, I'm just trying to picture this in terms of the interface again. If you change the content
A content type can be associated with a new data definition.
Right.
It could be the old one, but it can be a new one.
So, but aren't you just changing a pointer when you change a content type?
No, you are changing the container, meaning you are actually creating a new structured data object.
Oh, right. Okay. For the page.
For the page. Because even if you don't change the data definition, there's no way for me to find out. So I have to assume, okay, you are actually changing the container.
Right.
Even
okay.
though it's still the old container. I don't know that.
Right.
That's why I have to commit everything before using the container.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense.
That's the whole point. Because you are switching containers, I have to send everything back to Cascade and retrieve the new container, even though the container is the old one. I don't know that.
Okay. Okay, I get that.
That's how I avoid phantom nukes in the first place. Because I send everything back to Cascade and read it back again, the reading part will check whether there are phantom nukes.
Oh, and that's why it'll throw an exception, no such node exception.
So if you read a page, you will see that exception. But if you don't read the page, you won't see that exception.
Gotcha.
Or a data definition block, for that matter. So you have to read that to see exceptions of like, well, no such field, whatever. Phantom nuke exceptions.
So okay, I have another question, but I'll hold it. So go ahead.
Yeah. So back to the discussion between me and Maurice, okay, I told him, okay, well, I know you can bypass the edit call and then like go down the hood and then like manipulate the structured data object directly. That's what I did in my Phantom classes. But I basically shut it out of like usual practice, okay, so that you can't use it to create phantom nukes.
I see.
If you want to create phantom nukes, you cannot use my library. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Right.
If you use my library, I guarantee no phantom nukes are created.
In other words, if you want to use a set content type method, the data definition of the new content type has to be the same structure as the,
hopefully
even
the same
like,
one.
and even if it's not the same one, if it has the same identifiers, then it's okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, my answer to him was, okay, yeah, I know that because I mean, because when I wrote the library, I had a debate, okay, between this and that, two approaches, which should I like use? I offer the safe one, the secure one, so that you won't create phantom nukes, but then you have to pay for that, slowing down the execution, because I mean, you need to commit first and then read it back again to guarantee nothing is wrong.
So how does that work? I'm just curious. When you submit the change and then read it back, haven't you, if there is an error, haven't you already introduced phantom nodes by submitting it first?
Well, when you send something back to Cascade, before you read it back, okay, when you send something to Cascade, if you use my library, I make sure, well, meaning you use my library to set all the data. I guarantee that you cannot create phantom nukes. Okay?
Right.
Just as like a save like a card. I send it back and read it back again, just to make sure. Of course, I don't have to do that. But if I don't do it, the only alternative is this. You manipulate your structured data object in whatever way you want to, and you call edit. But then you can send back anything you want back to Cascade. There's no safeguard at all.
Right.
That's the other alternative. What he did actually.
But what I mean is, when someone calls set content type, you're saying that you make the change, and then you read the new container of the page. If there's an error, then what do? Do you go back a version to remove?
No. Okay. I didn't explain it clearly. Let's say there are two ways to edit a page. Okay, one, you use my library, meaning you have to use fully qualified identifiers.
Okay.
Okay, you plug in an identifier and then you set text, set whatever. Okay, if you do that, in principle, I don't have to call edit to make sure everything is okay, because everything must be okay.
Right.
I just do it like to safeguard, just to make sure, everything is okay. So when you do that, well, remember we are talking about set content type.
Right.
So when you call set content type, I assume, the structured data object is not corrupted. But how do I make sure it's not corrupted? Because you can actually do something like this. You can manually, like Maurice did, you can manually modify the structured data object without submitting anything. And then you call set content type right away. Okay? You are sending back phantom nodes.
Okay.
If I don't safeguard that, then phantom nodes will go into cascade.
Gotcha.
Okay. That's why I want to make sure I send everything back and then read it back out. There's nothing wrong. Otherwise, I can't proceed. Because if you malignantly, inserted something into the structure data node object, and then you call set content type whatever, you send everything to cascade, well, there are phantom nodes inside. And I cannot deal with that.
Right. Okay.
That's why I have to do every step, carefully to make sure nothing goes wrong. And you're not allowed to make something wrong unless you leave my library. You do something on your own. Fine, then I don't care.
Right.
So if you stick with my library, there's no way to create phantom nodes.
Right.
But if you leave my library, mixing some low-level code, then you're on your own. I cannot help.
Right. Or if you do it using the web interface.
Yep. So what Maurice showed me is, a program mixing my library with low-level code, so that at one point he basically retrieved the structured data node and then go to the STD class object and then start using arrow this, arrow that, this property, that property, and then assign values to them. Of course, if you know what you're doing, go ahead, do it. And you're sure you're not doing something malignant, fine. It's your program, it's your instance, fine. But when I wrote my library, I cannot allow that. And I don't assume people know how to deal with that. That's the whole point of building the library in the first place. If you know how to do that, why bother using my library?
Gotcha.
Of course, there are still things, you cannot do, without using my library. But I'm saying something that simple, you can write code like normal, well, like people before me, before 2014. They still switch content types and so on and so forth. Fine, go ahead. As long as you know what you're doing.
Right.
So there's a trade-off. I know using my library will slow everything down because I check everything at every step. I know that.
Interesting. Yeah.
But then the trade-off actually has two sides. I know execution time will be much longer, but code writing time will be much shorter. For me to write a program, to switch content type, I need about 50 lines. Without counting the namespace, exception, and so on and so forth. You look at my programs, these are real programs. Normally, no more than 200 lines, with all the brackets, in separate lines. His program, Maurice's program, has more than 400 lines. How many days do you need to write such a program? For me, I spend about an hour to write a program like mine. To write 400 lines of programs with like everything hard-coded inside, I would say at least a day. 400 lines of code, okay? At least a day.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You save a day executing the code, but you spend an extra day writing the code. What's the difference?
No, I get that there's trade-offs, and I think if you want to be more inclusive, then you have to always make the trade-off for security and data integrity.
Yep. Well, there's more than that. Because I'm writing code for other people to use, I've been like saying this for again and again. I cannot hard code anything. But in his program, okay, he has to hard code, for example, like indexes, okay, this ID with this index and so on and so forth. I cannot do that in my library.
Right.
I don't know your IDs. I don't know your index. I mean, how do I do that? I cannot.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the story like happened like 2 days ago. Okay. Back to the question you posed about half an hour ago. You asked me like how I started with my library, like how the design and so on. Well, I actually am very proud of my library because of one thing, and that thing no one has ever tried. I'm talking about syncing between two Cascade instances.
Okay.
This is very important for me. Actually, it should be important for many people, but somehow nobody cares, and nobody like dare to talk about it. You have like a development instance, and then you have the production like instance.
Right.
Okay. You develop everything like on the sandbox. Let me call it the sandbox, and then the production. Okay. Now, how do you like sync the two back and forth? For most people, they'll do it manually. Okay, I changed the format. Okay, on the sandbox, I copy the code, paste it into the production server. Okay, but if you are changing a lot of things, okay, well, you have to be careful, okay, when you like copying and pasting. What goes first? What goes next?
Right.
I don't know.
Right. There's a sequence.
There's a sequence. For example, you have to like, for example, create the block first before you plug the block into a template. A good example. Okay.
Yep.
So if you are doing things, okay, hundreds of things, what then? You have to like stop, okay, I change one thing, sync it. And then but then something might be broken somewhere along the way. I'm saying you sync it, but you don't know what you're syncing has a bug inside.
Okay.
You have to make sure, okay, everything works on the sandbox first before you start syncing, right? But then you might be changing hundreds of assets before you start syncing.
Okay.
What then?
I don't know, because we actually don't follow that workflow. But I'm trying to think. In your case, it would be a big problem if you had a bug. So okay.
Well, just this morning, okay, I updated my Velocity library tremendously. Okay, I'm merging files, so I'm deleting files, I'm moving code around, and so on and so forth. About 20 to 30 assets are affected. I don't want to manually like copying and pasting. I don't want to do that. I just run a script. It took me about like a minute to sync everything over.
Wow. But you mean using your library?
Using my library.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is this. When you sync between two instances, you're talking about two instances that are not related at all. I'm talking about like asset-wise, okay? So you have one asset here, you have a corresponding counterpart over there, but they are not related. They cannot talk to each other.
Right. They're like...
We're talking about two separate instances.
It's like a clone.
Exactly. Let's say you have a block attached to a template. On your target, you have to create exactly the same block containing the same content with a different ID, attached to the corresponding template with a different ID.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Assuming that template exists. If the template doesn't exist, you have to create the template first.
Right.
So there might be discrepancies between the two. On the source, you have a template, you have a block. On the target, you don't have a block and you don't have a template.
Right.
While you're syncing the block, you have to sync the template as well.
Right.
So when you sync between two instances, we're talking about syncing all 41 types of assets.
Okay.
You can sync anything.
I mean, I could see that being powerful. It's kind of like GitHub in a way. You know?
I don't know GitHub,
Well,
but that's how I started.
In the sense that GitHub or Git is kind of like version control locally.
Yeah, I see your point. You basically like copy everything, maintaining all the relationship and so on and so forth.
But it's in the sense that it takes snapshots at different periods of time.
Yeah. Well, about 3 years ago, I ran into this problem because I had a sandbox. Well, we still have the sandbox. I do a lot of things like on the sandbox, and then I have the production. Now, you already know, okay, we use the master site approach. So there's a common site that drives all other sites.
Right.
If I need to sync something from a common site on one instance, okay, to another common site on another instance, I have to sync. I cannot like delete it from the production and then like import export. I cannot do that because you'll break everything. You have to sync.
Okay.
But then, I mean, before I had my library, okay, the only way to do it is like manually, okay, copy this and paste it there. But if I do like things like involving a lot of assets, basically there's no way to do it. That's why the sandbox I basically like lag behind the production. So eventually I ended up doing everything on the production.
Okay.
Because there's no way to sync everything, okay, between the two.
Right, and that's not
then
ideal.
I felt, okay, I have to be able to do this. So I started with a program just to start, started the program to sync things, okay? But eventually I know it's impossible because I have to be able to sync at least 20 types of assets.
Okay.
Starting from like template, configuration sets, content types, data definitions, pages, folders, and so on and so forth.
So that was the inspiration for that was the use case for building your library?
That's the ultimate use case. So I have to deal with each asset individually first.
Okay. Okay.
And I can sync one type of assets, okay, from one instance to another instance before I do anything else. That's how I started.
I see. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, so go ahead.
I always say, okay, the ultimate test of a library, if you provide me a web service library, the ultimate test is, can you sync two instances?
Gotcha.
It's the ultimate test.
Interesting. I guess I meant more, what other libraries did you draw? Because looking at your library, I can see there is there's some kind of a method to your madness of why did you create a property class? Why did you create child classes? I feel like you must have run into this problem before. Almost like you've written previous libraries. Or maybe you've used previous libraries that have taken a certain approach to memory management.
Right.
So I was just curious.
No, I didn't have a library, and actually my library is still the only one available right now. I've been asking people, do you have anything to share? Like something I don't know, something I can learn from? No, this is the only library.
No, I don't mean. Are you talking about just web services? I mean like maybe a different language. But what about other languages?
Oh, sure. Okay. Then, I mean, it's like basically from everything I learned from Java, from Python, from Ruby, from I mean, that's my programming background. But back to your specific question about like a child, for example, it's completely driven by Cascade.
Okay.
Because the child object wraps up the identifier object, the STD class identifier.
Oh, okay.
It's from Cascade.
Oh,
So
okay,
everything
that's
is driven by Cascade. Yep.
so the structure of your
Well,
library is
yeah, yeah.
influenced by Cascade.
Methodology and so on. Of course, I mean, it comes from my background as a developer.
I see. Interesting. I think that's very fascinating. You know.
I hope so. Well, I remember that guy from IBM. I told you about.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I was told that he basically like looked at my library and then like rewrite everything using JS Node, Node.js, like
Really?
rewriting things, okay, into JavaScript using my library as a reference.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay.
I'm curious, okay, like how far he has gone and whether he's like willing to like to share his library.
Is his library to do Cascade Web Services?
Yes, using JavaScript.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
It is interesting, but I don't know how much he has done, how far he has gone. I don't know. I have no idea. I've never directly talked to this guy, but I just learned it from some other people. Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. Hey, listen, I've got to run to lunch.
I have to run too because we only have an hour. I have to like finish my lunch first.
All right. well, yeah, if I'll try and get back and join the hangout.
Oh, okay. See you
All
later
right.
then.
Thanks, Wing.
Yep.